Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 28 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and today I'm joined by Ben.
Hello.
How you doing today, Ben? All right?
Yeah, I'm really good.
Good. So, Rich has been distracted by real life, so Ben has agreed to join the show and help us out for a bit. So, Ben, can you tell us what we're talking about on episode 28?
Yep, we're going to be reviewing the Tombstone Tournament we had recently. We're going to be chatting about themed leagues and the usual games, hobby, and style players.
Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so first things first, Blood Bowl news, and we've got quite a list to go through today. The first bit is from Exit 23 Games. There is a Line Frog. There is a Frogman fantasy football team that was from J-Bone Industries. They crowdfunded a Frogman fantasy football team, and Exit 23 Games have picked up what's left on the stock. So there's only 100 or so teams, and there won't be anything else made. Ben, have you had a chance to have a look at this team?
Yeah, I have. It's really unique, actually. I love it. I really do.
It's quite old school. It looks like how Slan used to be in the art for like the second edition Blood Bowl and things.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Which is quite cool. I mean, there are some other really good Slan teams out there. I'm a big fan. I think it's the Fanath one, where they've got Morgan Frog.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've also got the Kermit chainsaw, I think.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, which I think is a reason enough to buy a team. I can't see the cost on that post, but if you are after a Slan team, check out Exit 23 Games, so exit23.games, and have a look at that there. The next bit is from Star Players Shop. They've got a pre-order on their Ratmen team. Now, Ben, I know you've got a Skaven team kind of on order at the moment anyway, haven't you?
Yeah, I backed the Pirates from Punga Miniatures, which is fantastic.
No, that team was so good, and what we've got here from Star Player Shop is they're a lot thinner looking. I think
they're quite gaunt, aren't they?
Yeah, they look like biker mice. Biker mice from Mars. Right, here's a massive throwback. And they're the tall biker looking Skaven with Skaven heads that actually probably appropriately sized for a kind of biped, as opposed to the cartoony big Skaven heads that you get around. But that's quite cool. So that's €55, including tax.
That's a really good price.
Isn't it just? So that's 16 miniatures. That's 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, 4 runners, 7 linemen, and a rat ogre.
Yeah, including the big guy in that is a really big deal.
Well, it is. I mean, we've seen some of the other teams that are out there. It's more like €80, €100 even, for some of them. They're cool models. They're not quite to my taste because they are quite tall, but they're kind of more realistic.
No, yeah, I get it's sort of they look very humanoid for Skaven.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. And the rat ogre looks kind of more like a Wolverine, like a werewolf kind of look.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
So that's quite a cool team that is on sale at the moment, and that is starplayershop.com. So those are some of the Blood Bowl-y teams, and then we've got a couple of Games Workshop bits. So Age of Sigmar, they've released what equates to now undead Space Marines in their fantasy game. So they killed off the Warhammer Fantasy World where Blood Bowl was kind of set and replaced it with magic, other stuff. And they've released this new faction called the Ossiarch Bone Reapers?
I think it's Ossiarch from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But don't quote me on that.
They're a very unique style. So some of their models might be useful, but the one I really love the idea of, and it's really funny because Ian, who was on the show the last couple of episodes, immediately flagged this model up, and that was the Nightmare Predator. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, is that from the Endless Spells?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So they have this box of 3 endless spells, and one of them is this snake-like skeleton ghost with a massive head, and I'm looking for a reason to use him as a big guy in Blood Bowl because I think that would be very cool.
It's so perfect. With the outstretched hand, he looks like he's trying to catch or throw a ball.
Exactly. You know what? You chuck a ball in there, maybe from the undead kit, and he would look like an awesome big guy. I can't quite figure out what you would use him as, because obviously the mummies are well covered. But I'm sure there's something out there. I mean,
Might be a secret team.
Yeah, well, secret team or a star player, maybe.
Yeah.
What's that mummy guy who wrestles everyone to the ground? Could be a...
Yeah.
It could be ramen. I can't remember. Ramen, the guy named after Japanese soup. Yeah. So that's quite a cool model. I mean, we saw the big troll, hairy troll thing that was previewed a couple of weeks ago for Warcry. Haven't seen that come out yet, but that again is something else. Keep an eye on for Games Workshop. Their other kits and their other games actually do have a couple of models that would be great for a big guy or even a team conversion.
Yeah, it's a great chance to get creative and just have something a bit different.
Exactly. So we've done that one. And let's talk about Windsor Chog very quickly. So you guys who've listened or watched any of our YouTube will know that I'm a huge fan of Windsor Chog and their miniatures. The one chap does some great digital sculpts and gets them cast in resin. The casts are great, the models are great, and he's released the Croxicore.
It's one of the best Croxicores I've ever seen, and the fact it just came from this guy, it's taken him what, like 2-3 weeks to do it?
Yeah, literally to sculpt it, because he does a really good job of posting it on his Facebook, so you can kind of follow along as he's sculpting. This massive crocodile, who is as big as a troll, is, like you said, literally a couple of weeks from design to cast, and went on sale today. I've ordered 2, one for me because I do need a Croxicore for the Lizardman team, and another one that I will be giving away on the show to be announced next episode, if not before. As soon as I get the model, I'm going to do it. We're going to do a competition just to give it away, just to get that model out there. Ben, have you got any of the Windsor Chog models?
Yeah, I do actually. I won a at Tombstone Tournament. I won a the Orc Star player. What's his name?
Oh man. The thing is, on the website, he's actually just called Orc Star, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's the good orc in Blood Bowl.
Yeah, Varag Ghoul Chewer is the one he's supposed to be, and it's a great cast. I mean, I used the Ogre for 7 Super Series. In fact, you've used the Ogre in 7 Super Series.
Yeah, I did control him.
Yeah, Zizzles the Mighty, and yeah, models are great. And like you said, at Tombstone last weekend, we did give away 3 models for the top 3 prizes for first place, for fan favourite, and for best team. Just because actually Windsor Chog helped us out, sent us some models to give away as prizes, and they're great, absolutely great stuff. We've got a Halfling fantasy football team up as well. So this is on Thingiverse. So this is a 3D sculpted one. So this is the STL files. You can get this printed. Have you had a chance to have a look at the Halfling fantasy football team?
Yes, I have. And the name Knights of the Second Breakfast is very appropriate.
It is so good, isn't it?
Got a couple of them with like frying pans and...
I love that one of them is wearing a frying pan as a helmet and has a chef's hat on top of it. They're quite cool. They're not the best Halfling models, but they are good fun. So that's Halfling fantasy football team, as Ben said, Knights of the Second Breakfast on Thingiverse. All this stuff I'll put in the show notes, so if any of it takes your fancy, you can have a quick look. But they are kind of the classic, well, they're kind of Halflings D&D style, I reckon.
Yeah, I get it. And it's just if you have access to a 3D printer, they're not even that much nowadays. Like you've just got a Halfling team here. Is it even charging for it? Is it?
I can't see that they are.
I think it's just a download link. It might even be free.
There we go. So if you want a free, you can tip the designer. That means you don't have to. I think this design is worth tipping. But if you want a free Halfling team, jump on Thingiverse, Google Knights of the Second Breakfast, and there you go. Just print a team out. Oops, I'm accidentally downloading it. Stop that. I don't have a 3D printer. I'm tempted, but I'll wait.
What's the club?
Yeah. So we've seen that, and you spotted a beautiful model, didn't you?
Yes, this actually came out the day of recording, and So I'm a big fan of Artel W miniatures. I never know the way to say it. Is it W Artel? I don't know. They call them Artel W miniatures on Facebook. But they produce such high quality miniatures. They're often for the Games Workshop specialist games. They've done a lot for Necromunda. That's kind of their niche where they got a lot of popularity. And I've ordered a few of the sort of Enforcers, the Judge Dredd style ones.
Oh,
and
they
the
are
quality,
lovely.
Yeah, it's unparalleled. It's just so good. I've never seen sharper resin. They're based in Russia, so shipping can be a little bit pricey, but they do so many competitions throughout the year. Often you can kind of get away with saving a bit of money. And
Hi.
yeah, they've produced this ogre, which is, I'd say, inspired by Juggernaut from the X-Men.
Oh, definitely. It's so funny. If you look at the comments, one of the first things is someone's chucked a GIF straight in there of the Juggernaut.
Oh yeah.
Straight away. Is there a size comparison for this model?
No, they haven't. They've only got the one sort of work in progress. Well, actually, I think it's even finished render. So we haven't seen the actual miniature or scale, but I imagine it would be big. It looks probably like 40mm base that he's on. He sort of takes up most of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna judge that by the tusks in his face. This guy is an ogre, so he's going to be ogre sized. So have you got some of the RTLW miniatures?
Yes, so I've got like I said, the sort of Enforcers, the Necromunda.
That's right. How big are they in proportion to sort of Games Workshop scale?
They're humans, and they rank between a Guardsman and a Space Marine in terms of scale. For Blood Bowl people, that's about.
That sounds about right, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very on par with GW scale. So if this one's ogre sized, Ogryn sized, he should fit right in.
That's very, very, very cool. So, so he's got the football hand. He's got a Juggernaut helmet, which looks like it's going to be optional. It looks like a really cool model. No idea on price just yet. And like you said, coming from Russia, but hey, I'm on board with that.
It's worth noting as well that, like you say, he's got an optional Juggernaut helmet, and he's got an optional left hand. So you can either have a giant cannon flamethrower kind of look of it, or you can replace it with American football.
Which that's so good. I'd love to see that more because... yeah, that's really good. They've gone for two markets there, and I can see that the 40k guys, they'll want it for their Ogryns, but the fact that they've gone, you know what, people are going to love this for Blood Bowl as well, and they've done a great job in making that little swap. That's so good.
Yeah, it's really great.
No, great spot there, Ben. So looking down our news, the only other thing to talk about is the Games Workshop Ogre team that's been spoiled since we recorded the last episode.
Yes, this looks really good.
The rumor was that the ogre team was coming next, which is quite cool. So it's nice to see that some of the rumor mill is on track. They did say lizardmen and ogres, and they were bang on the money. Yeah,
and something that's a new record is 16 miniatures in the box.
Is it 16? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it is 16. Now, I'm not sure that the Noblars, or they should be Snotlings, I think, but not sure the Noblars count. But
yeah, true. But
this one sprue of these with 2 ogres and 6 Noblars is so much fun. And 4 ogres and a bunch of Noblars is actually kind of where you want to start in a league with ogres. So because then you can buy 3 or 4 rerolls as well for your starting lineup. And obviously, as rerolls double and ogre price doesn't, for 140k, you get an ogre as opposed to 70k's worth of reroll as you develop. So, as a starting team, this is a starting team in the box, and it looks like there's a bunch of different pieces that can be used to, like head swaps and arm swaps or something. So, if you've got 2 boxes to give you those 6 ogres, it looks like you still have enough pieces to differentiate them a bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's one of my favorite ones from Games Workshop for that reason alone, really, of having us out of the box start.
It's funny, isn't it? Like with the first 4 or 5 teams with no head swaps, now they're giving us head swaps and hand swaps. It feels amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to feel like the old Space Marine boxes soon. So yeah, the ogre team. The rumored release date is December the 14th, and you know what? Judging by everything else, I think that is going to be bang on the money. And there is a very good chance I'll be picking this team up, the Fire Mountain Gutbusters.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to resist.
It is, isn't it? And they've spoiled the 2019 Almanac as well which is going to include the undead, halfling, wood elf, and lizardman spike stuff in there. So not the actual ogre spike that will come out, but everything else from this year will go in there, which makes it worth buying. I prefer the spike magazines. I don't know why, I just do. It's weird, isn't it? I'd rather pay £40 for 4 magazines than £30 for one book.
It's kind of the collection.
It is. It is, and they're cool. And if you're playing that one team, it's quite good to be able to say, Lewis, you're running a lizardman team. I'll chuck you the spike magazine.
Yeah.
But then again, £30 to get the spike magazines for all the year is not bad at all. And the other thing on that is that so there's always leaks of supposed product lists to third parties. That's where we saw the release date of the 14th of December for this. But listed on there are Chaos Dwarves as well.
Yeah, that's been causing a lot of debate online of what that's going to be.
They're listed at a slightly different price point, which leads many to think that it is going to be basically a remake of the old team. But others are like, actually, it might just be a slightly bigger box. I can't see it being that.
They also have the separate bull centaur though. Did the old team have that separate as well?
I don't know. I mean, everything was much smaller then, so it all kind of fit in a box quite handily. Can I see these guys now doing? What would they do? 6 hobgoblins, 6 chaos dwarves, and then the bull centaurs separate. I can't. I can see that.
I don't know, because you need the Minotaur separate as well. I'm not sure if they would.
Yeah, but I think the Chaos Dwarf lists, you kind of either go Bull Centaurs or Minotaurs at the beginning anyway. So first of all, if Chaos Dwarves are coming out, I'll be very happy because it's one of the hardest teams to get alternate models for that I like anyway. And it's very difficult to go back in time and buy those models because the Games Workshop ones, because they're rare, and now it's not worth it because they would look quite small.
Yeah.
So if it is a reprint, they might look small. If it's not, I don't know, could be a really great surprise at the end of the year to have another team drop. I've actually bet one of our local players that it is going to be a reprint, and if it is a reprint, he has to play Blood Bowl 7s with me. And if it's not, I have to play a few games of Magic the Gathering Modern with him.
Oh, that is not a fair trade, Ben.
Hey! That's how confident I am. And the way I see it is, I can build my Chaos Dwarves while losing games of Magic the Gathering.
That's true. Yeah. So, just sort of let Craig, rinse you, and
that's it. I was like, oh, you win again, and I'm just gluing this model, and it doesn't matter because I've got a Chaos Dwarf team. That's cool. So I think that wraps it up for miniatures news. Like I said, quite a lot this week.
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Yeah, it's funny how quickly that goes. We've had Spiel, and there's something called Blood and Plunder. No, that's a different game, isn't it? Blood and Glory on Saturday, where Games Workshop flagged up saying there's a preview for new reveals and news. So maybe something gets announced on Saturday.
They do not slow down, do they? On Games Workshop these days.
It's crazy. We're still waiting on some of the stuff they previewed like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that release strategy. I do like hey, this is coming, and in 2 weeks' time it's going on pre-order. I feel like that's quite good. Like they did with the Lizardman. It was like, boom, this is coming, and it's coming in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that was really good.
I like that. That's just enough time to go, do I have to wait for payday, or can I squeeze this in?
Yeah.
So just a couple of tournaments to touch on as we're in the news bit. Food Bowl on the 16th of the 11th in Cardiff. It is a Blood Bowl tournament that is there for charity. So all the money they earn from it goes towards the Cardiff Food Bank, which I think is really good. Have a look on Facebook and on Talk Fantasy Football for that. And that is a tournament that's in the SWTC, which is the Southwest Tournament Championship. So for Blood Bowlers that go to a bunch of different tournaments in Southwest England and Wales, you get some points for playing in that as well.
Brilliant.
We've got North Wales Carnage Cup 2 in Wrexham, which is run by a friend of the podcast, Rob. That's looking like to be a great one. I was going to try and go. Unfortunately, with my schedule and Tiff's schedule, I'm not going to be able to make it anymore, which is gutting, because I think that would have been a really great time. And we also have Birmingham Bowl 4 in Birmingham on Saturday, the 30th of November. So loads of great Blood Bowl in the next month, and then I imagine it will slow down for Christmas.
Yeah, give people time to paint out their new teams. And
That's it. Yeah, give them time to glue together their Chaos Dwarfs.
yeah.
I like the sound of. Lovely. I think that wraps it up for news. Okay, so over to games, hobby, and bits and pieces. Ben, have you been playing any Blood Bowl?
Yeah, actually quite a lot of Blood Bowl, as usual.
Yeah, I was there for some of it. So, what are the highlights for you in the last few weeks?
Definitely Tombstone Tournament.
Oh, fantastic! That's really good to hear. So that was our 3-game, 1-day horror-themed event with some pretty crazy games. Now we're going to talk about that in our first segment. So, any other games before we delve into Tombstone games?
Yes. So other games I have played again. I played Rich last night, actually.
Oh yeah, what was the score in the end? Because you guys ran off without updating the league.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Well, he beat me 1-0, which I don't think was too bad, considering he was playing humans, which he's quite experienced with, and I was trying out Chaos Renegades the first time, which I'm not experienced with.
Oh, this is your Zinch team, isn't it?
Yes, it is, which leads me into hobby. Because
yeah,
I've had a lot of fun with them. So I've created a team called the Silver Tower Shifters, which is a Zinch themed Renegades team. So I'm
where did the name come from that?
Well, yeah. Funnily enough, it came from the Silver Tower box, which, if anyone is interested and can get hold of it, 'cause it's actually hard to get hold of, it makes a perfect Renegades team.
You have done a superb job putting that team together.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, the Silver Tower box has got all the pieces. So what pieces did you use for the positionals?
So the linemen, I use the Carrick Acolytes you get in there, and a couple of them have such like running poses, which is so dynamic for Blood Bowl. They actually look like players when you cut the weapons off. Yeah, so you get a bit of the flat-handed weapon snip look, but if you don't mind that, yeah,
that's just everywhere. So those are the bird-faced human dudes.
Yes, yeah, they're kind of the ripped, jacked guys, which aren't actually ripped and jacked. They just make themselves look like that. That's the law of them. Yeah, there's also, you get a Skaven in there, which is perfect because you need a Skaven.
That's the thing with like loads of knives and bits hanging off him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's holding like a long cutlass, which I cut off, but he's also got a little dagger, which I actually kept because it kind of looks thematic.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, he doesn't have weeping daggers like the gut runners, but
well, that's not a rule we run in the league anyway.
No, yeah, true.
But he was one of the that model was one of the ones that was quite prevalent at the beginning of Blood Bowl as being the extra gutter runners.
Yes,
because it does make a great one. In fact, Ian, bless him, a friend of the show, hooked me up with a couple that I never used because in the end I just gave up and bought another box of Skaven. Cool. So that's the Skaven. So what other great models were in there?
Yeah. So obviously the Minotaur. I'm using the Ogroid Thaumaturge.
Yeah, that is such a fantastic model.
Yeah.
It does get used quite a lot for Blood Bowl. I mean, I know that Rich uses it confusingly for an ogre in his Chaos Patch team.
Yeah, that tripped me up at first, but he has actually got a Minotaur-looking Minotaur, so when you have them next to each other, he definitely looks more ogre than that. But that is true. And you're using him as the Minotaur? Yes, yeah, okay, with the big horns, it just makes sense.
You're doing it properly, that's good.
Also, it's called Ogroid as well, I can see the ogreness. But
yeah, it's a fantastic model. It's a good size as well. It's
a
bit bigger than the Blood Bowl big guys, but not so big that it is a silly Ben class model.
Yeah, not like the tree men.
Those tree men are great. The big tree man from Lord of the Rings. Cool. That's an absolutely beautiful model.
Yes, he fits also. He can squeeze on a 32, but I've got him on a 40, and he fits really nicely in there, so
that'll upset a couple of people in our group.
Yeah. So I'm also using the Tenebrail. Do you know?
Tenebrail Shard.
Tenebrail Shard, yeah. So I'm using that as the Dark Elf. Because obviously it is a Dark Elf. It's a Witch Elf, it's
a kind of male-looking Witch Elf, really, isn't it?
It is a male. It's female-looking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a bloke, which I didn't know until a while ago, but that's fine.
But, that's very inclusive of you. That's superb.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. I've named him. So I think I've named him Tenebrail, and I've named him Cluder of Zinch because my team is the Silver Tower Shifters, and he's not actually Tzeentch. So being a
he's
hero,
Galuda.
he's just a traitor in my team. So
Well, that's very Dark Elf.
yes, very. Yeah, who knows what they're up to?
Yeah, they're villainous, aren't they? So that makes a lot of sense. That's cool. So how much of the team is all? Well, it's all built and painted, isn't it?
No. I've painted a couple of them. I'm using the pink horror and the blue horror as the Orc and Goblin, respectively, because that makes sense.
Oh, that is such a good idea.
Yeah, I'm going to paint those next. I've done a couple of linemen, and that's it.
And I've robbed a couple of pieces off you, haven't I?
Yes.
In fact, you've been great in sharing those bits around the group. And,
I want people to cash in because a shop near me stopped them. So
enabling on that one.
Yeah.
As it's called.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What about you?
No.
You said you using the brimstones. What have you been up to?
Absolutely. So, you hooked me up with some brimstones that I am literally painting as we record, and Seven Super Series is on our YouTube channel, and it is a series of games played with the Blood Bowl 7's rules. We are nearly wrapping up season 1. We've just got the finals to film, and there's, I think, 2 more episodes to re-release before the finals hit. And after that, we're going to be moving into season 2. Now, season 2, we're going to do something slightly different, and it's going to be called Secret Sevens. And we're going to be doing Blood Bowl 7s with secret and stunty teams from Fumble, because we love the special teams from Fumble. We just were lucky enough to have a great little tournament using some of those. And I know, Ben, you actually built one yourself just to play along in that tournament.
Yep.
But now we're going to give you another reason to use a secret team, and that is going to be for Secret Sevens. And to do that, I've seen a cheeky opportunity. So the Erewhon Treeman from Warlord Games. So Erewhon is a fantasy game kind of looking at the glory days of Warhammer, and it's actually by Rick Priestley as well, who is the daddy of Warhammer.
Oh, I didn't know. That's
yeah.
Well.
So it's fantasy battle, and they've got these treemen, and these treemen are about £12 for 3, and they are superb. They are a great size. So I picked up a pack of 3, and that will be the basis of my Treeman team from the Secret Leagues. And on the Treeman team, they have Spites, which is supposed to be like woodland spirit things. And you hooking me up with those, what are they called? Brimstone Horrors.
Yeah, the Brimstone.
I've based them individually and cut some apart, because they come in pairs, cut some apart and stuck them onto the Treeman. And now I've got this little Treeman team supported by these weird little forest Spites that I've painted as ghosts.
They look fantastic. They really do.
Cool. So the Treemen are actual Treemen, so 120k each, and the Spites are basically leveled up Snotlings. They're 20k, and I think they're 6 movement, 1 strength, 3 edge, and 6 armor with stunted dodge and right stuff. So they are just really good Snotlings.
I think sidestep as well. They kept that as well, didn't they?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
They give 20k. That's actually really good.
Well, you actually flagged that up straight away, and you're like, so they're just literally better Snotlings.
Yeah.
And they are. And I think that's cool. And I think that'll make a really interesting team in Sevens, because, you know me, I'm all about running the different teams, especially with big guys in Sevens, because it can be insanely fun, even when it goes wrong. And that is key. So, yes, I've got some Brimstone Horrors. I've painted them up. I've used the Ghost Paint Nihilak Oxide just to paint them up. And, really good. And the Erewhon Treeman, I'll post some pictures up when I'm finished painting. They are absolutely blooming fantastic for Blood
You've done
Bowl.
a great job with them as well already. It's only taken you a day and you got pretty much them all done, haven't you?
You know what? I haven't used any Agrax. That was my challenge. Yes, because I am literally. I'm very guilty of painting everything a couple of colours and then just Agraxing it and saying, done. But this time I've used a bit on the base just to add some depth, but the entire model I've not painted with Agrax.
Very impressive.
I think they look great, and I think they're good. So that's basically been most of my hobbying since the tournament. Now, you did an absolute ton of hobbying going up to the tournament as well, didn't you?
Yeah, the werewolf team I ran in the tournament, that was a bit of a drain, I'll be honest. You know, when you've got a deadline, you have to get something done, and you want to do anything. But I was there thinking, I could paint some 40k, I could paint something else. But the hobby motivation was massive just for not that team.
Well, so you did an incredible job, and the bases looked fantastic.
Yeah.
That was probably the thing that made it even harder to do.
Yeah, it did. I in hindsight, probably shouldn't have done it. I had a bit of base envy from Milton because his looked fantastic.
Yeah,
I thought
he ran the Ethereal team, and we used the Shadespire models. No,
he did.
Yeah, and they come with like integral stones and things. So he based his lineman up to match it, which did look fantastic.
Yeah, I think they're better than the other ones came.
I think so, yeah. But they did put some effort in, and then you added loads of rocks and branches and things to yours, didn't you?
Yeah, so I basically cut up the spares I had from a Sylvaneth Tree Lord kit, and also some Citadel Wood branches. I cut a few of those up. Stuck those on. I added some foam flock, some small sand, some rocks, some skulls, some leaves. But I think what sort of tied it together to give it the horror theme, which is kind of why I did it, because the werewolves didn't really look too horror-y on their own. I got some of the Green Stuff World Spider Serum, which is amazing.
That was
really
so cool.
Yeah, so it was a bit of an interesting. I just went into it without actually knowing how to use it. I just sort of looked on the side of the pot. It said, put through airbrush. I said, okay, I'll put through the airbrush. And it went everywhere. Like, my study was just coated. It kind of flies out the top of the airbrush. It flies out the sides. My technique was kind of just to spray it in the air and then wrap the model like in it as it was wisping in the air, because it just
that is impressive.
It's really difficult to use, and if you go over too much, it kind of all sets like a glossy plastic, which wasn't ideal. But so it took a few attempts, but it is really good stuff. If you ever want to make something look spooky or horror themed, it looks like cobwebs. It's indistinguishable. No, Alison thought I just need to dust the room, but
it's such a cool effect, and it came out really well, man. You did such a good job with that team. We'll talk about the build in the next segment. We do talk about Tombstone. So other than that, any hobby?
Just some bits of 40k where I can and things like that. I haven't really been up to much. No.
Just a bunch of stuff to try and distract you from the Blood Bowl projects.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take a break from it now.
Well, I'm sure we can find a new team to come out that will distract you from that.
Yeah, or work on those higher ones for the Fobble Wobble Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, yeah. That reminds me. I need to finish the Wood Off team. Still haven't decided if we're going to be running if I'm going to run the Tree Man build that the World Cup kind of made so popular, or to just full on elf it. But I do have a cool Tree Man, so I think I will finish the Tree Man off.
You've got to have a big guy if you can, can't you?
Yeah, that's the whole point of Blood Bowl.
Exactly.
So that covers games and hobby, and things coming up. Yeah, we've got the Fobble Wobble Cup coming up soon, literally next weekend. Yeah, which is Wobble, our local group, against Fobble, Fistful of Blood Bowl in Portsmouth. So if any of you guys are listening, hello, and let's have a very good day. And hopefully it can turn into an event with more teams next year.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. This team event is really exciting me. I know. I think you mentioned it on the previous podcast. It's nice to. It's just nice to sort of like go in as a group, and we're going to have our shirts, and it's just going to be a really nerdy day.
Yeah, it's going to be a proper nerdy day. I'm really looking forward to it. It should just be really good fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, it's we're using the World Cup rules, so the builds are quite interesting. It does mean you can net deck a bit from the World Cup. So I said, have had a look to see what Wood Elf teams did really well. We've looked at all the other ones, but Ian is running his Amazons, I think, and he's not taking the Roxana build, which might be suboptimal, but it's because he doesn't have a Roxana. Really likes playing with the actual players and playing the team. So we're not proper power gaming, but we are looking at it to see.
It's all right. We've called it out that he's got an Amazon team, so we can expect to go up against dwarves now. And
well, that's only if they listen. That's their reward.
That's true. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think that covers hobby and games. So let's talk about Tombstone. So on to our first proper topic, and our first proper topic is talking about our third proper tournament, which was Tombstone Tournament, which took place on the 26th of October at Entoyment in Poole. Now, first things first, before we go anywhere or talk about anything, just want to say thank you to Entoyment. The location is fantastic, and straight off the bat, it wouldn't have had a great a day if they hadn't been a great game shop. So if you're anywhere near Entoyment in Poole, do pop in. They've got a heck of product range, loads of stuff, dangerous amounts of stuff.
Yeah.
And the upstairs place where you can play games is brilliant, and they've got a very good little community there as well.
It's not just Blood Bowl and Warhammer as well. It's just every board game you can imagine they'd have there. They're very accommodating to anything. It's fantastic.
And I think that's part of the danger for Blood Bowl players, is because there's so much. There's Mantic games, there's D&D, Pathfinder minis. There's lots of stuff there that you can go, oh yeah, that could be that could make a good big guy or a good positional in Blood Bowl.
Exactly how I made my team was from that.
Exactly. No, that's so true. So it was a horror themed tournament. So what made it horror themed? We had a restricted team list, which I know we're going to talk about in a minute. And a horror-themed weather and kickoff table that Rich put together. I edited slightly just to try and move them around so that there was an even chance on the kickoff for both players to be penalised or bonused, and hopefully it wasn't too bad. So we had fancy weather, fancy teams, and a fancy kickoff table. Yeah. We ended up with 10 players, which was pretty cool. So it was the lowest attendance of any of our tournaments, but with this kind of restricted and special team format, you do tend to get that little bit of drop off on players. Luckily, we had no dropouts on the day, which was fantastic. So all the tournaments we've had this year, literally everybody who said they were coming has turned up, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. It was good to see some new faces too.
It was really good to see some new faces, especially some guys who have heard about it on the podcast and were like, yeah, made the effort. One guy came from Andover, which is about an hour and a half. Yeah. So he wins the prize. I mean, I know that it's not a small journey for you, Ben.
It's about an hour and 10, yeah.
It's on the upper limit of an okay journey, I think.
Yeah.
So it was a 3-game, 1-day tourney. So first game was at 11 o'clock, and we broke for lunch after that. Went into round 2 and round 3. It was a Swiss breakdown. So the first games were randomized, and then the other games were based on ranking, which kind of filtered out the teams that were doing well and teams that weren't doing well. What we're going to do is just going to give a quick rundown of the teams that were there, and then we're going to ask Ben what about his team was and why he took it. So having a look at the standings. Come on, internet. Here we go. So we had one Khorne team, one Nurgle team, Undead Pirates. We had Demons of Nurgle, which is a very cool little team. We had the Ethereal team, run by Milton. We had 2 Undead teams, a Were team by yourself, a Renegades team, and a Chaos Halfling team. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 secret or stunty teams and 5 regular teams.
Yeah, good split.
Yeah, no, it was really good actually. It was nice to see. It was nice to see the variance. And it was also very nice to see no necromantic teams, because they've done so very well at our last couple of tournaments that it was lovely to see something a bit different. So we're going to hit up the standings first, just so I can talk through the teams, and then we'll talk about yours now.
Yeah.
First place, we had Sam with his Khorne team. Then we had Drew with his Nurgle team, and then Rich pegged it at 3rd place with his Undead Pirates. Joe, who tends to normally dress up, came with his pirate ship full of Demons of Nurgle.
Incredible team.
It was a very cool team. The team build itself was quite interesting. We had the Ethereal team by Milton with mostly nobody with hands, which was an interesting challenge. Just knives, I believe.
Yeah.
We had Ian and Josh. So this was really cool. So hello, Ian. Hello, Josh. Ian brought his 7-year-old Josh to come to his first tournament, and hopefully they both had a really good day.
His son was talking about it for ages. He was loving it. It was really nice to see.
So good. It's so good to see people get into the hobby, and it's so good that we actually had a tournament where you could bring, a kid along and enjoy some games of Blood Bowl, and I think everyone was really accommodating, which was absolutely superb to see. Then we had Ben, so you with your Were team, and then we had good guy Lewis, who's been on the show many times with the gyms, and he did get his first win with the gyms, but it was against Chaos Halflings, which are a stunty league team, so we're not sure it counts properly as its first win. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I don't want to say it doesn't.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
On the drive home, I was like, oh yeah, but it's only against it doesn't really count. Not a proper Blood Bowl team, guys. And then we had Logan with his Chaos Renegades. that was a very cool team. And I
Yeah.
think it's the first sort of outing for them, but that was cool to see. And we had Nick, who made a superb effort with his Chaos Halfling team. Absolutely. He had the Warhammer Ale Guzzler Giant there as the Giant star player, which was so cool. He had 2 incredibly well done Tree Men Chaos Spawn things. They did a lot of work to make them look like they were coming out of the earth, which was so
covered
good.
Grass and mushrooms and all sorts. And
yeah, that was such a great team. There were a bunch
corn, was it Corn Country Pumpkins and the
That's the
pumpkin
one.
heads and
country
incredible.
pumpkin themed team basically.
Yeah,
Pumpkin Patch came alive, and he did a cool bit of backstory behind that as well.
brilliant.
So, teams and things. Ben, you ran your Were team. So the Were team is from the Secret League.
Yes, it's interesting. You mentioned there was no necromantic teams, but there was a necromantic on steroids, which is the Were team.
So yeah, you think of necromantic and you think, oh, there's werewolves. How many werewolves were you running, Ben?
I was running 3, but they can go up to 4.
You only took the 3. Okay.
I only took the 3 because I really wanted the bear, so they can take.
Bear.
Yeah, there's 3 positionals. There's or 3 player types. It's Werecats, which are kind of your linemen. Werewolves, which are sort of acts as your blitzers. They're a werewolf, and Werebear, which is a big guy who's kind of like a troll but without loner, which is really good.
Oh, the Werebear doesn't have loner.
No, he doesn't have loner, which really helped.
Ooh, strength 5 without loner. That is very good.
He was
no wonder
good.
you dropped a werewolf for him.
Yeah, he's only 110k as well. It's the same price as the troll. That loses loner and gets grab.
So the linemen, the Werecats that you took, they are a very interesting position, aren't they?
Yes, they're kind of like stunties mixed with elves. The stat line is 7247.
So Edge 4, but strength 2 on all of your linemen.
Yes. Yeah, and no defensive skills. They lose their dodge.
Yeah, they got jump up, so if they get knocked down, they can get back up again. But with armor 7 and strength 2, they are going to get knocked down, and there's a very good chance they won't get up again.
Yeah, the jump up was really handy. So in this day or in this tournament, there were a lot of slow teams, and this team really outpaced every team. Because obviously werewolves, they're just standard werewolves, but they're movement 8. So you've got movement 7 and 8 across the board, which is nuts.
It is a huge amount of movement. That's Wood Elf level movement.
Yeah.
So how did you go on? So let's start with your first game. Who was your first game against?
So that was against Joe with the Demons of Nurgle.
Oh, that's a heck of a team. So the Demons of Nurgle, they've got Nurglings as their linesmen, strength 2.
Strength
they've
1.
all got they're strength 1.
Strength 1.
But they've all got guard, haven't they?
Yes. Yeah, I mentioned you spoke about them on the podcast because
Ian was going to take them, but then he ended up being on holiday this weekend.
Yeah.
Hi Ian, hope you're having a nice holiday.
Yeah. They were rough. It was a really good team. So he took all the Nurglings. There's Plague Bearers, which are kind of like your bloaters. They're quite similar to bloaters, Nurgle bloaters.
Yeah.
And then he has a Great Unclean one, which is a massive big guy. But I think he was a weak link.
200,000, I think, for that big guy. That's so huge. Now, what I did hear is that when teams were facing a team they'd not played against, they just went with the mission of, right, let's take out the big guy because it will be important. Did you find yourself trying to do that?
Absolutely not. He's strength 6, and when you've got Nurglings around, I've never seen in any game of Blood Bowl so many 3-die blocks in that game. I was against my guys were strength 2 and strength 3, and he had Plague Bearers of strength 4 with Nurglings making them strength 5 up against strength 2s. I was losing a lot of blocks there. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I did see you down at the bar afterwards. You had that 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
He was just sort of stood there staring into space, saying something about guard.
Yeah. I think I lost 1 or 2-0. I think it was 2-0. I think you got 2.
Let's have a quick look. So all of these results are available on the boneheadpodcast.com, either on the homepage or in the actual Sewer Bowl. No, let's go back a bit further. The Tombstone Tournament page in tournaments, and all the lists and standings are all on there. So yes, the bubonic Boaty McBloaters, the Demons of Nurgle team, did win 1-0.
1-0.
Yeah, but you look like you out-casualtied him 2-0, so that's something.
Yeah, I tried my best to bully the Nurglings because even my strength 2 guys could get around and get 2 die blocks on them when they're on their own. So
When they're on their own,
yeah, that was my goal, was to try and take out the Nurglings, but they're only armor 6, I think, and they managed to pass all of them. They're really hard,
that's
hard to remember.
crazy.
Yeah,
you would. I would have thought that would have been like a hunting sort of like you picking guys and individually removing them. But it sounds like Joe played them really well and really leaned on that guard.
Yeah, and I went in as well thinking I'd win the passing game with all my Edge 4, but disturbing presence on every single thing. Oh, and that's the other thing, yeah. Sorry, you carry on.
No, I was going to say, so you can't make blocks because everyone's got guard and the power of friendship makes it, very difficult. And then you can't throw because you're just minus a billion.
Yeah. And you can't on top of them not being able to block as well. They've all got foul appearance, which really hurt.
Of course, so you're having to 2+ block anybody, basically.
And I've got 3 frenzies. I was failing a lot of them.
That's one way to get around frenzy is by blocking someone with foul appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it actually helped. I think that's one situation where I had a 2 die up. I felt the foul appearance, so it's kind of saved me. But yeah.
Roll the 1, please.
Yeah. But it was a really tough team. I think they're very good. The strength 1 guard is massive, and I don't think you need the big guy because of that, because you just have plague bearers and surround them with guard, and they're already strength 6.
Especially at 200k. Now, I think he was running lewd grip as well, wasn't he?
He did, yeah, which didn't really come into much effect.
Oh, that's surprising.
Yeah, you would think he needed it because the whole team is Edge 2, and then they can't pick up the ball. So
it gave him a ball handler. But, he was just punching and dodging and just dominating.
I pinned him down with some cats on my offense, so I went first, and he was at the back, and I just sort of pinned him down and kept him busy. So
Lewd Grip is a very useful player, but he is also quite easy to counter.
Yeah, he's only strength 3, so
he is only strength 3. He's got armor 9, so he sticks around, but he's still easy to just block and keep away because he's not got block. So he can dodge away, but still 3+ with a reroll is never a certainty.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was your first game. Who did you get in the second round?
I went up against Milton. Now this I have a bit of a PTSD from this game.
I am not surprised at all. So this was the Lucchini Lamenters, the ethereal team by Milton. Now he did a heck of a job painting up and building his team. He converted a load of models from Nighthorn. And
they look great. They looked stunning.
He did a super job with the paint scheme, so much so that people have asked, and because he's used a bunch of paints that don't sell anymore, it's very difficult to copy him.
Yeah.
But yes, so how did that game go?
It started off all right. I thought I had a good chance. He's got some strength 2 players. My theory was I've got quite, werewolves are pretty mean. I had a werewolf with Mighty Blow as well, with Claw Mighty Blow, and I thought, I'll just tear up his ball carriers, and then he's left with loads of no hands players, and he won't be able to handle the ball, and I'll win.
That sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah, but then they all stabbed me, and I lost 1 player, then I lost another player, and by the end of the game, I think I had 2 players left.
So the thing is with the ethereal team is their linemen have no hands, but they come with was it up to 4 integral stabbers?
I think more than that. Maybe or was it 4? It might be 4.
Yeah, so the 4 or 6 wraiths have all got stab, representing the wraithly touch, which is very cool and very thematic. But man, it worked a treat against you. And the really great thing is that originally he had multiple block on them, as he was planning on putting them on the line, and then he played again against a test game against Sam's Corn, and was like, "Oh, this is a terrible idea. Stab is awful." And then he played you.
Yeah. I actually think multiple block would have done even more damage on my guys. Actually,
such a scary prospect.
It's the were team. They're fast. The werewolves. Werewolves. They tend to tear some players to shreds, but their armor is poor. Armor 8 max even on your big guy, and all your linemen have armor 7. Stab, it's good
if you catch them. So stab, avoids any kind of dodge, any kind of block. It is just a straight stab. And if you're armor 7, it doesn't matter if you're a goblin or a werewolf or, a werebear, although I think he was armor 8. It's still absolutely brutal. So the score for that game was a 2-0 loss.
Yeah, that was a 2-0 loss.
And you were outscored 7-3 on casualties. which
7
is
casualties.
an insane amount. I know I popped over in the second half and you were just there with nobody left on the pitch.
Yeah, I think I had 4 in sorry, 7 in the casualty box, and then another 3 I think KO'd, and I had 2 players left on the pitch, I think. Yeah.
Hey, at least he didn't wipe you entirely off the pitch, did he?
No, not quite.
I think
Probably
he
a turn away from that, though.
tried a cheeky foul to make it happen, I believe. But
yeah.
That's cool. So that was the second round. And then in round 3, you saw yourself all the way down on table 5.
Yeah, bit of a saving grace playing the Chaos Halflings.
Which was a brilliant little game. How did that one play out?
I had a lot of fun. This was probably my favourite game of the day. Not because I won, but just because that team is such a laugh, and the coach was lovely, and it was just funny. The giant was hilarious. Multiple block on that giant was just funny.
So that was the star player Thundershout Gristle Gnasher.
Yes,
one of my favourites, and definitely one of the things I was considering running in my Chaos Halfling build. I didn't. I went for the multiple stab guy instead. But I was only there as a reserve in case somebody dropped out, and we got very lucky, and nobody dropped out.
No, it's good. Yeah, we I don't rate the Chaos Spawn in that team. They did not do well. I think I took one out on the first block of the game with my werebear.
They are not great. So when I first looked at the Chaos Halfling team, I was like, yeah, Chaos Halflings with, a Treeman and mutations and things. But they're Treeman. They don't have Treeman. They have Chaos Spawn, which is a very different position. It's almost, it's like a bad Minotaur.
Yeah, or a bad Troll.
It's got Wild Animal, Frenzy, Horns.
Oh, it is a Minotaur, yeah.
Yeah, so on my list, I took 2 of them, and I gave them both Claw.
Yeah.
And the plan was to just unleash them and to either do the Mino Blitz kind of jobby, or just put them on the line and just have a crack at, taking out some guys with Claw's great. They come with Mighty Blow. Chuck Claw on. The idea is you should be doing some removal.
Yeah.
But doesn't look like they played as consistently as you would need them to.
The trouble with 2 wild animals is one's going to fail, because you can only blitz with one. And when you can't block with the other, he failed a lot of wild animal in that game, because I just dodged my guys out of his tackle zone, and on both of them, after removing one of them, he had to blitz with that, and often it wasn't the best thing to blitz with, because he also had 2 chainsaws that he wants to use.
Well, the advantage of Edge 4, I suppose, is that you get to do that. You get to disengage quite easily. So you didn't give him any targets.
No.
That's good play, technically, but
Yeah, he was new to the game, but he played really well. He used that multiple block very well. He removed a few people with that. He actually got quite a lot of casualties, if I remember. How many did he get?
He outscored you 4-3.
In casualties, yeah.
Yeah. And you won the game 2-0.
Yes.
In touchdowns.
Yeah, scored a second one just near the end. I still only had a few players though, because I only got 4 casualties, but I think 3 of them were werewolves, and I regened all of them, but they didn't get back in the game because I didn't score. So I had just more players out than that. Yeah.
They were just sat on the side watching.
Yeah, and I had about 3 in the KO box. So I was actually at the end down to about 5 cats and a werewolf, I think.
Hey, you seem to have made it work.
Yeah. As soon as you slip away, a team like Halflings just cannot catch up.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I think the Chaos Halfling team was definitely punching above its weight, but I think one of the most fun builds of the weekend.
Yes.
That and the Nurgling team are probably just 2 of the most unusual lists. Actually, and the Ethereal team. That's the good thing about the Stunty League and the Secret teams, is that they're all just very different. And that was the whole kind of crux of this tournament. So, talking of teams, I know we alluded to this earlier, one piece of feedback we asked about after the tournament was we had restricted teams. So, only a few of the regular teams, we'll say only a few, about 10 or 12 of the regular teams, so all the Undead and Chaos teams were allowed in. At first, the Chaos teams weren't, and then a lot of people flagged up and said, I think Chaos are quite horror-ish. I think demons and mutations are all kind of horror themed. So we said, yes, you're quite right. Let's go along with public opinion and let the Chaos teams in. which meant that it was the Chaos teams, the Undead teams, and then a host of teams from the Secret League, which we did cover a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
And how do you think that was received by the players? Because you were there on the ground floor playing the game with them. What was the what was the feedback from everybody around the restricted teams?
I didn't hear much from the players I played, and I was lucky that every game I played was with a Secret or Stunty League team. I didn't actually play any of the normal teams. So I didn't have that experience, which I personally enjoyed. My opinion was that I would have liked to have seen more, but I agree that I don't want to limit the pool too much.
Yeah. So we don't want to restrict players, because it would be really I would be disappointed if it was a case of, hey, there's this tournament, but you can't attend unless you buy one of these specific teams. Now, what it is it's an optional challenge for those people who love the game enough to try different mechanics, or love modeling enough to build a specific team, or both. In, like, for example, you and Milton literally were like, this is a great challenge. We're going to build this team. We love these rules, and we love the idea. There's a modeling opportunity there, and it was great to see so much of that from people. But also, if you're an orc or a Skaven player, or an elf player, and you've got 2 or 3 teams and none of them are eligible and you can't attend, that does put a dampener on it.
Yeah, but I really like the theme of Tombstone Tournament. It was nice to have this Halloween theme where I'm up against an army of pumpkin head halflings, or sort of the Davy Jones like divers of the Nurgle team. They're kind of diseased shipmen, and I just thought that was really fun and thematic. And I don't think it's so much limiting players from playing, because we have so many other tournaments to play those teams. It's nice to do something else. I think if you are an Orc, Skaven, human player, and something like this comes along, I think it's just a great opportunity to try something else, try something new. Just go in, especially if it's secret only. Like, everyone's in the same boat where you're playing with something you don't know, and I think when you're just doing something completely that you don't know, it's actually really exciting and really fun. So I quite liked it, and it's not too much to invest. Like a team like this, you're going to be converting, but you can do it quite cheap. I did my whole team for about 30 quid. It wasn't too bad. So yeah, I think it's just a good opportunity.
So what would you want to see for next year's event? Because we've already got it booked in.
Yeah.
I can't remember the date, but it is on our website. So what would you want to see us do next year?
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I think I almost want to say the same again. I wouldn't be amiss to opening it up. I wouldn't object to opening it up. I think more options is always good, but I think I would like to encourage, or maybe reward, doing something different. A secret team, maybe having a best secret team as a prize, or something, top secret. I'm not sure. Yeah. But we did that at Bonehead Bowl. Yeah,
we had a separate prize for the top mixed team, and in this year's Bonehead Bowl, I'm not sure if we're going to have a separate prize, but we have kind of encouraged the mixed teams by making them a little bit more powerful than last time. So there was a couple of penalties we put on them with regards to rerolls and things, and actually we're taking that away, and giving them a fame bonus for a mixed team. So it might be that we could do a very similar thing with Tombstone. I love the teams. I would personally be inclined to add a few more, but that's because I'm a big fan of more is better.
True. Yeah, more Blood Bowl is more better.
That's it. See, but I don't know. I think it went really well. How did you find the weather table and kickoff table?
That was fantastic. I only had one really I had 2 wacky results come up. I had Possession and I had Witch's Ball.
The Witch's Ball was fun to see.
Yeah,
turning into a bomb and exploding everywhere. That was
and not only that, having a giant catch it and throw it, and successfully throw it 2 sixes in a row.
The giant on the line caught the Witch's Bomb, threw it away, blew up some guys, and then because it turns back into a ball after it's exploded, was on the other side, it was a touchback.
So yeah, you managed to throw a free bomb and get a touchback. So
Yeah,
that worked out quite well for him.
That was a good play. I like that. That was fun to see.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was really really thematic. Possession was good. I don't think I used it very well. I just moved his ball carrier away from the ball, but then he moved it onto the ball, so it kind of just delayed his movement a turn. But yeah, it was no, it was good though. I really enjoyed them, and looking at them like from the chart, sort of seeing the ones I want to hope to get. That was good. I like that.
I'm really pleased with how they went. They weren't. I was worried that with the secret teams and a custom weather table and a custom kickoff table, it might have been too much. But it seemed like our players came prepared, were ready for carnage, and although it did take a little bit longer to play the games than normal, which made the timings a little bit tight because everyone's kind of like, and what does this do? And what does this do? Actually, it seems to work really well. So I over the moon with that, how it turned out. Korn won the day. Sam came to his first Blood Bowl tournament and absolutely murdered Face and finished first place. So it might be that actually next time we disincentivize the normal teams somehow, maybe give them less skills or something.
I think maybe reward like you had the tax and the mixed teams with the fan factor. Maybe have that on the normal teams. But...
Oh, that's actually probably a really good one. Something like that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Lovely. Is there anything else you think we should talk about when it comes to Tombstone Tournament?
No, just come along next year.
Fantastic.
Have more players.
Yeah, well, that would be good. I'm hoping that next year we can get a bit higher. Watch this space for the rules pack for that one. Okay, so for our second topic of the day, we are going to be talking about themed leagues. So, inspired by the Lustrian League rules and the new Spike magazine, we're going to talk pros and cons of doing a special league. So, with a special setting, or a special restricted amount of teams, or an expanded amount of teams. So we saw it in the Halfling Spike, so issue 5. They brought out stunty league rules. So I've got the Spike magazine here, and the minor leagues, Blood Bowl leagues for shorter players. They had special, yes, quite cool. The only teams that may take part in the Thimble Cup are Halflings, Goblins, and Ogres, or any future team categorized as a stunty team. League commissioners may choose to open this up to underworld denizens with no Skaven, and lizardmen that do not include Saurus or Croxicles. I tell you what, now they've got the chameleon skinks, that makes the skink only team kind of interesting.
Yeah, interesting they say no Croxicle then. Cause...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure before, so you can take, I'm pretty sure that some tournaments do say you can have a skink only team, but they normally let the Croxicle in.
Yeah, you only get one anyway, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, the underworld get the troll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and skinks are kind of great anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
So the Thimble Cup, they had a special kickoff table, and they used the rough and ready stadiums from the Almanac. So the theory behind that is actually it's a setting of the minor leagues, and they've got little stadiums. But they went to town in the most recent Spike with the Lustrian League. So within the Lustrian League, they had there's an extra team mascot, which basically is a kind of a re-roll. They've got they've got a kickoff table that's got 4 new entries, which are quite interesting. And there's weather as well. I forgot about that. And then there's 2 pages of special stadium rules, some of which are really good fun and involve like boulders rolling down and wiping out one basically row or column of the pitch and stuff. It's really interesting to see. But the whole premise of this topic is to talk through the idea of having a mini league or a league set somewhere. So we run Wobble, which is down in Hythe in Southampton, and we're just wrapping up our mini Christmas Bowl league, which was for brand new teams just to get 4 games in. We've got the Major League, which is for no TV restriction teams, and that should be wrapping up in February. Then we're going to look at what we do, and it might be that actually what we could do is we could have a league set in somewhere. We could have a league set in Lustria using the Lustrian rules, or do something different, come up with a winter theme thing or something like that, so you can have the limited rules. First things first, Ben, what do you think would be the pros of doing a different league?
I think just mixing it up. Like I know you've had this conversation before about how to mix it up between things like minor and major league and let people keep players. But I think this is just I'm a sucker for narrative and like narrative campaigns and things, and I think this is kind of the closest you can get with Blood Bowl, without sort of adding in extra rules. So it's I really like the idea. I think having Wobble 6 is going to be in Lustria, and then Wobble 7 will be in Albion. That will just be really fun. It just mixes it up each time. It might change the way you build a team, if things can.
That's it. So that links into my first con of doing something like this, is that with a Blood Bowl league, players are investing their time, and it's continual time, and they build up things. And this is why people get so salty if you turn 15, 16, foul them in a tabletop league, because they've literally spent a year building up this player, and he could just randomly die.
Yeah.
So, there's good things and bad things about that. But changing up the meta of an environment when you've already got teams, it can adjust the earned value of that team, and for coaches that can be quite emotional. Which it's a game, but it is still a game that we believe in, we love, and we put time and effort into. So, take your what's your favourite team you've run in the league so far?
Well, the High Elves are the ones I've taken through from start to finish.
Cool. So let's take your High Elves, and you worked very hard at painting up some beautiful models, learning them how they play, and to create your own little franchise, your own team, your own narrative. Then we say, hey guys, Wobble 6 is going to take place in Albion, and in Albion it's always raining, or the weather chart is heavily skewed in the way of not being able to throw the ball.
Yeah, so when I got excited about it a minute ago, I've now changed my mind.
Exactly. And because it changes that meta, for teams that are already growing or have already grown, it's kind of jarring. For a brand new element, I think it could be very cool. And like you said, it could adjust. So if we're going to say, right, we're playing this new league, but everybody passes at one shorter because of the weather most of the time, because of the charts, whatever, would you still take High Elves?
No.
Exactly.
No, I would not. I'd go Bashy.
And it kind of limits the team and creates an interesting meta, which we kind of saw at Tombstone, because of all the teams, yours was the only kind of Edge 4 team available.
Yeah.
Because there were no elves, there were no Skaven. I think the only Edge 4 really was a couple of star players and the Were team.
And
so we saw
a little bit then.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But they had no hands. So.
True.
And you said that actually we found was that the teams were quite slow teams. It was it was a grind.
Yeah. And
you would see, kind of possibly a skewing of the meta, but having a mini meta I think is great. But we just got to be aware that if we ran a mini league that was in a different setting, any previous teams would be impacted by that. So what cool ideas, not necessarily specifics, but what cool things could you do you think, to create a themed league? What could you introduce?
I think maybe look into making sort of more mandatory stadium rules. That could be a thing where, not I say mandatory, I mean just sort of encourage it more. Maybe everyone even just starts off with one.
I was going to say these the Lustrian rules do say you've got to roll for a stadium.
Yeah, exactly. I think it helps.
Yeah,
stadium rules aren't too damaging to either team. Like, sometimes they benefit you a bit, but some of them aren't that bad.
I think as long as you've got a balance.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, the new Lustrian ones actually do have a good balance, because a lot of the effects are kind of not necessarily environmental, but they're kind of equal. It's akin to saying on this pitch, sometimes there's going to be a random fireball. Now that doesn't punish one team over the other. No. Whereas the Astrogranite pitch, where it adds +1 to your armor rolls, kind of punishes low armor teams.
Yeah.
And there is stuff like that.
And what I really like, from the Lizardman's bike is the Golden Sands. That to me is like the narrative, where it's saying, every team receives 10 extra gold pieces, 10k extra from the tourists, because everyone is really sunny.
Yeah, they're playing on the beach at the touristy place, aren't they? So yeah, everyone gets 10k more. I think does it affect go for it as well? Towards the end of each half, the tide comes in and pick up some -1.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
not
it's all
bad, is it?
slushy
That's
sand.
fine. But yeah,
And also, star players are cheaper because they're all on holiday. And I just think
it
that's
is
quite fun. Like, it doesn't. Both players can benefit from that, and yeah,
that. I think that's key, and
yeah,
that's something that we kept in mind when we did the custom kickoff and weather table, is to try and make the effects hit both teams equally. So having set yeah, but you're exactly right. Having a stadium list that's custom to your theme, it's maybe that's something we could do in Tombstone instead of a weather or kickoff table next year.
yeah,
Is have these are the stadiums that we're playing. We're playing in a spider stadium where things happen, or underground, or in a graveyard, or something. Just have kind of global effects that affect the entire game without necessarily introducing a bunch more rules when it comes to. In fact, you know what? A stadium is one rule for the whole game, whereas a kickoff or weather table can be, 4 or 5 different ones throughout the course.
yeah. And people don't. I mean, I was going to say people don't complain about the weather, but I definitely do when it rains, like in Bubble and in real life. But
The anxiety of seeing the first roll be a 1 from one of the players is just like, oh no, here we go.
yeah, and that's in the rules. So maybe it's not too bad to have a result that might change the effect of one game. So yeah.
So another thing I thought could be quite interesting is having if you're going to set a league in a place, have access to some generic star players.
Yeah.
Some new star players, but actually that most teams can take, or just make sure that you increase it. Or so when we look at Beachhead, which is our tournament at Beachhead 2020 in February the 8th, is there's a star player that's available to everybody because the tournament is set on the cliff tops of Albion, and in the Albion campaign, druids and things could raise fen beasts, so everyone has access to hire a fen beast as a star player.
It's a great idea.
Which is kind of like an earthy troll. Having, say we set a league in Albion or in Lustria, and then we said, actually, you know what, everyone has access to the to the decreased amount of lizardman star players. It would have been quite interesting if there'd been 10, but because there's 3 lizardman star players, it's a little less exciting. But say it's going to take place in Athel Loren, which is the Wood Elf domain, and everybody can hire the Wood Elf star players throughout that season.
It's a good way to get creative.
Exactly.
You could even, like you say, even make your own.
Yeah. You could make your own for the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I were talking earlier, and we
oh yeah
came up with the idea of being able to hire a dirty player snotling for 30k or 40k.
Yeah.
just to pad out the team roster.
Angry fan or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things you can do in the theme league. So the stadiums are great ones. You can have weather and things like that. Different star players, different inducements as well. I mean, kind of links into star players, but so North Wales Carnage Cup, they've got a whole list of inducements that are basically different kinds of beer. because the idea is that the whole event is sponsored by a brewery. So they've got the different ales, and they cost different things, and they do different things, which is really, really cool.
That's a great idea. That's fantastic.
You could do a Bugman's Brawl.
Yeah.
Everything takes place in underground dwarf halls, and there are some extra beer inducements that you can take. And as long as the rules are kind of even for everybody, it just adds flavour.
Yeah. Speak nicely to Games Workshop and host it in Bugman's Bar as well for that extra flavour.
See, that is it. So I'm very lucky. I got engaged recently, and I've decided that my stag do, as it is going to be a weekend at Warhammer World playing Blood Bowl.
That is
at
fantastic.
Some point. That is the plan. But fiance Tiff has agreed it, I think. I may have told her, I may not have told her. Yeah.
It's dangerous.
I'm sure I told her. I think she'll probably approve of that more than tank paintball, which was the other idea. So yeah, stag do at Warhammer World, and I get to have custom dice as wedding favors. So I'm so happy. But but yes, some other stuff you can do, and this is something that I'd love to get your thoughts on, just in general, is prizes for winning a league.
Right. Do you mean like trophy, or do you mean other things?
So I mean actual things that the team gets for winning the league.
Right.
So there are a couple of ideas out there, and one of the cool things about this spike is it does say about the prizes, and technically so does the Stunty one as well, although I never really read it. Let's see, Primordial Rainforest. I'm sure there was a little segment about prizes for the tournament. Many
Yes.
glorious
Was
prizes.
it the Croxodon Cup? The
Yeah,
glittering prizes?
the Croxodon Cup. In addition to the usual prizes, the victor receives the Croxodon Cup, which has the ability to heal and rejuvenate players. The team that holds the trophy gains one of the following inducements for free ahead of each game. Basically, you get a free apothecary each game while you have that trophy. So this is something that we've always shied away from as a league to give long-lasting effects, because we tend to not decide them until we've already started a league. But say, you know what, next year we were going to run a Wizards League, a Wizard Cup. And in that cup, everybody could hire a wizard at half the price. And the winner, while they held that cup, got a free wizard inducement, for each game. How do you think that would be received by our league?
I'm not sure. I don't know if Wobble is unique in the way, or if it's the same as other leagues, but I think most people tend to run different teams, don't they? You get a new cup, they don't tend to take the same team into the next league.
But having the benefit of some of these prizes can be quite strong. So I think if you're going to run a themed league and you're going to have a prize, you've got to figure out if it's going to carry over, or if the coach gets it, or if the team gets it. So one thing we have done historically is what we call wobble dollars. So the winner of the league gets X amount of thousands of wobble dollars that they can use on any team they want. So if they make a new team, they can spend. So say the winner won, 50 wobble dollars, and then they were like, you know what, next season I'm going to run a new team, and you know what, I'm going to use that 50k to get me that extra reroll at the beginning, or that apothecary, and give me that head start. I think having those prizes go with the coach is probably, I think, the best way around that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and then that means they can either use the same team or a new team, and I think that works.
So kickoff tables we spoke about, weather tables we spoke about, stadiums we spoke about, adjusted teams, star players, inducements. I'm feeling like we should do this as we go into next year.
I think so too. Genuinely.
I think we should get some ideas, and we should take a poll within the group where we would like the next tournament to be, whether it's Albion, Lustria,
Southampton.
Southampton, Wizards Den, something cool. So we get that themed stuff in there. And while I think there are some Puritans, which I think is really important, that guys who are rocking up to a club to play Blood Bowl know that you're using the Blood Bowl rules. And that's something that Wobble has always been really strong on, is that it's important for new players to be able to come in and know exactly what they're playing. So we've kept our house rules to an absolute minimum, I think.
Yeah.
Say you were a new player once, but actually, was there anything you could think of that we did differently to the rulebook?
No. I think it was kind of to the. Oh, you did. Is it in the rulebook now? The fact of what's it? The MVP D3.
Yeah, I think the D3 is in the.
That's in the rulebook now.
Yeah, it's in the rulebook now. But I think that's just such an important rules change anyway.
Yeah, you see like the Blood Bowl 2 games where you keep getting your MVP on your dead guy.
Or the star player. It's just brutal. Yeah. So last point then, if you could play a league in a themed zone, what would you want to do?
Oh,
yeah, no, I'm going to put you right on the spot. Last week I did a lightning round where I made everyone come up with a sevens list.
Yeah, you did.
This time I'm going to make you come up with a themed league you'd like to play in, because I've got one as well.
I'm really not too familiar with the old world. So
don't worry about the old world. Don't worry about the location, but maybe just the rules pack or what you would find cool.
I did have the idea. When we mentioned it earlier with the Raging Fan, I was thinking of the like you have like Cabal Vision in Blood Bowl 2, maybe like the televised cup or something like that, where you start introducing rules for like sponsorships and things like that.
Oh, I love the idea of sponsorships. And you know what? One of the guys at club yesterday was like, "Can I take a loan?"
A loan? Yeah.
He was like, I need 10k more for a Yeti. Can I take a loan? And you know what? Having a season where you can do things like take sponsorships, take loans, could be quite interesting. Quite an
You can
interesting
take a
setting.
loan, and if you win the game, it's fine. You can have it. If you lose, you have to pay a load back.
And if you don't pay it back, what happens is one of your players randomly misses the next game
yeah, just
because he's
suspiciously
being held hostage. Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah, great. So I think that like the televised cup or the Cabal Cup or something like that.
No, I like the Cabal Cup. That's a good idea.
Cabal Vision Cup, yeah.
If I had a choice, it would probably either be Albion, because I love Albion from back in the old days, or some kind of Wizard sponsored event, because no, we don't use Wizards enough. Some of the Wizard effects are really cool. Some of them are, because of that, I think they're underutilized. So I'd love to see like a mini league where everyone gets a Wizard every game for free, or you get a Wizard for half price, but you have to use him as a miniature on the board. So you can block, and you can only cast a spell while he's on the pitch, and your opponent can block and knock out the Wizard before he gets a chance to use the spell.
That's a great idea. Make him really weak. Strength 1, strength 2, yeah.
80k for a Wizard, but actually you can only use the spell if he's on the pitch and not
on a
dead.
tackle zone.
Yeah, so you see them set up their Wizard, and you're like, right, let's take him out before he gets a chance to pull the spell off. I just think that would be really great.
That would be fun.
But that's it. So, guys, if you're out there listening, you've got any cool themed leagues ideas, then let us know, because, one, we need them for our tournament, and two, if there's some really good ones, we'll talk about it on the podcast, because more Blood Bowl is more better.
That's right.
Let's move on to the star player. Right, so it's time for the star player of the show. We alluded earlier, we mentioned this skill a couple of times when we're talking about Tombstone, and that is the beautiful skill that is multiple block.
Yes.
So Thundershout Gristle Gnasher, the giant, has multiple block. I was going to run a Chaos Dwarf team with a stab dude with multiple block, and Milton's Ethereal team with some stabby dudes. His first sort of skill set had multiple block on his stabbers. So I thought multiple block is cool, but they're all very special cases. They're all secret or stunty. Where does it appear in the real rules? And unless you roll a double on a Dark Elf Assassin, you're not going to see it. But one guy who does have it is Grim Ironjaw, who is basically the Slayer special character, star player for the Dwarf team. So Grim Ironjaw, you can only play for Dwarves, and he's 220,000, which isn't bad for a star player. So he's movement 5, strength 4, edge 3, and armor 8. So he's a edge and strength boosted dwarf straight off the bat.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad so far.
Yeah.
He's got loner, obviously. He's got thick skull because he's a dwarf. He's got block, dauntless, frenzy, and multiple block. So this guy is a hench, agile, troll slayer with multiple block, and I think they come with dauntless, don't they? So just multiple block and strength 4. So I know you asked a bit earlier, multiple block and dauntless, how does that work? So we did some rules checks, because actually we were talking through it the other day. For each block he gets to roll a fresh dauntless.
Okay.
But that is after. So the whole idea of multiple block is if you're in base contact with 2 opponents, you can declare, right, I'm going to block both of these, or I'm going to use the multiple block skill. At the start of a block action, a player who is adjacent to at least 2 opponents may choose to throw blocks against 2 of them. Make each block in turn as normal, except that each defender's strength is increased by 2. The player cannot follow up either block while using the skill, so multiple block can be used instead of frenzy, but both skills cannot be used together.
Which is interesting, because he has both skills.
He does, so he gets that choice. So you've got this strength 4 dwarf who's like, I can either make 2 strength 4 blocks against you,
with block,
or 1 strength 2 block against 2 different guys. But I've got dauntless to carry me over. To have the option to throw the second block, the player must still be on his feet after the first. And dauntless, you roll a dice, add it to your skill. If it's equal or lower than the opponent, you block with your normal strength. If it's higher than them, you block as if you're evens. So say he's on the line, he's blocking 2 strength 3 guys. That makes them strength 5 essentially. Or makes you strength 2.
That doesn't reduce your strength, does it? It just increases theirs.
Increases theirs. So yeah, so you're strength 4 blocking against 2 strength 5 guys at that point.
Yeah.
Which basically means that on a 2+ for Dauntless, it's an even block.
Isn't it even a 1+? Was it?
It's because it's got to be greater than their strength.
Greater than their strength to equal it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
one fails, but 2 succeeds. So I declare multiple block with this guy, and on a 2+, for each, you roll separately for each block, I get that 1 die. Now, if it was perhaps on a team where there was easy access to guard,
like a dwarf team.
yeah, where the players don't get knocked over quite so often, there's a great chance if you chuck in one guy with guard in there, and then he's just multiple blocking two die blocks with a single guy, and I'm pretty sure, he's going to take those blocks.
And he's got block as well, so it's like,
Yeah,
quite likely.
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, with Dauntless, taking a 1 die block with block is happening on a 2+. And you know what? We've all played against dwarf teams, and taking the 1 die block is fine.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, that you can always roll that skull. And where he's a loner, you don't get the advantage of being able to just use the team reroll to get yourself out of it. But yeah, so
it's always risky having loner on something with, he's pretty much always going to be doing 2 blocks, whether you choose the multiple block route or the frenzy block.
You are exactly right.
And with loner, it is risky, but block does help mitigate. If he didn't have block, I would be looking at that thinking that is too risky to take. But with block, it's a bit of a safety net.
You're exactly right. 2 die block with block is basically only a 1 in 36 chance of failing, because you need to double skull at that point. Because he's got frenzy, so rolling a double both down, it's fine. It doesn't end your turn. It just ends his little frenzy onslaught, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it does, rolling a single both down against one of your multiple blocks doesn't actually stop the multiple block. You can still block the other guy.
Yeah.
So if you get an assist in there, fantastic. And I'd love to play this guy against Snotlings. That'd be great fun. Absolutely creaming out those blocks everywhere.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on this guy then, Ben?
I really like him. I didn't, I'm not too familiar with dwarves, but now I've got one on the way. I might start looking at having this guy in here.
Did you back the Fanath team as well?
I did, and he's one of them, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I might try and maybe looking at a low TV dwarf team just to try and get this guy in, because I like Frenzy after playing with the werewolves, and with Dauntless multiple block, having the as a separate route, it's a good combo. I like it. I like it a lot.
He is a cool player, but for league play, 220k isn't a huge amount. It's not a throwaway amount, but when you're running dwarves, you are very unlikely to be 200,000 plus down. So it could be cool against a fresh team going up against a seasoned team, but I've got to ask the question: is it better than 2 rerolls? Is it better than a wizard?
Yeah, I think he's better than a wizard.
I think he's better than a wizard as well.
Yes.
You've got a decent positional. He's edge 3, which is edge 3 strength 4. Even if you don't block with him, that's good. That's a good player.
He's very good.
And I know that the next 7 Super Series is going to be secret and stunty teams, but at some point, I really want to do a star 7s where you take a star player, build a team around him, and you know what? A Grim Ironjaw dwarf team with him and 2 Troll Slayers and some runners would be great fun.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would just be such a cool thing.
There you go, Cabal Vision Brawl. The stars come out for a bit of screen time. Everyone gets 200k to spend on star players.
Oh, now you're talking. Now that is a very cool special rule, and I think Rick from our local club would be absolutely over the moon about that one.
Yeah.
That's very good. Right, well, I'm gonna have to post that one to the group, I think, for next year, because that could be awesome fun.
It's a nice way to see these players come on the pitch, because, like you say, this guy is very rarely actually going to make an appearance on a dwarf team, and because he's only dwarves,
That's it. He's only dwarves. I think they should bleed the star players into other teams a bit more.
Yeah.
Even if it was just each team has access to one other team's star players. So if you gave the halflings or humans the dwarf star players, that would be a really cool mix.
Yeah. Maybe some elf ones spread across Dark Elf, Elven Union, and exactly.
It would just be really cool to see some of those star players in use. because otherwise you're not going to get them. But yeah, that wraps it up for our star player, and therefore that wraps it up for the episode. So, Ben, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you coming on and having a chat about some Blood Bowl nonsense, and I really appreciate you coming along and playing at Tombstone and winning a trophy, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's a pleasure every time. Yeah, I'll happily look forward to the next one.
Just before we move on, which trophy did you win?
Yeah, I won fan favorite, which was really nice. That's probably the best feeling trophy to win.
No,
So,
you were super, and well deserved trophy. Sorry your team got absolutely murdered, but thank you for all your efforts, and it was great. So, guys, that wraps it up for episode 28. Thank you very much for listening. If you've got any tournaments, leagues, any news you want us to share, then please get in contact and let us know. We'll put it out on the air. Otherwise, thanks for listening, thanks for playing, and we'll see you again soon.